16 minutes past 6. Now, many smaller companies, particularly in non-essential retail and hospitality, are close to breaking point. No income and rent and tax payments due. How many might not survive? Dom has more on that in this morning's Business News. Morning, Dom.
Yes, good morning, Michelle. Well, the bank Santander has a forecast out this morning looking at high street businesses in particular. It thinks about 1 in 12 will close permanently. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Also this morning, what do all the businesses that cater to tourists coming to the UK think about the hotel quarantine plan? And we have the latest unemployment numbers out in about 45 minutes' time. What should we expect? First, though, small businesses on the high street. Kelly Hooper is the owner of the beauty and wellness centre The Barn in Somerset. It now only has online sales.
So the online business has been okay. It's allowed us to survive. It's kept us stable. However, where we struggle is that we've got a bricks and mortar place. So we've got rent, we've got insurances, we've got lease hire of machines. And so we've got that kind of base that we have to be paying out regardless if we're open or closed. It's hard. This month is really, really hard. Any longer, there's a good chance that we won't be able to survive unless we go into further debt.
George Ketori owns the Yamas Metse and Tapas restaurant in Nottingham. Well, it's surviving by selling takeaways and meal boxes.
We're currently about 10% what we were taking just before lockdown, so we're heavily impacted. We initially got the bounce back loan through our bank, Santander, but that's only gone so far. We're coming to that period where we're starting to look into the C-bill loan. It's not quite good as a bounce back loan in terms of the repayments, but we need to survive. We are very worried about how we can survive. We will lose everything. Also, our staff, there's 24 at the moment. We've got some couples, husbands and wives, and if we close, then there'll be hardship as well. So it's not just for us, it's for everyone.
Well, listening to that is Susan Davies, Head of Business Banking at Santander. Susan, good morning. What's your forecast? How many of these small businesses with exposure to the high street do you expect to go out of business permanently?
Well, good morning. And sadly, we believe that 1 in 12 businesses believe they will have to close. And our data also suggests we may see a shift in the high street, with 3 out of 10 businesses looking to move to a different location. I mean, when we look at why, it's because of things like rent, reduced cash flow and business rates, and particularly for those businesses who haven't managed to maybe fully take their operations online.
When you say permanently close, the 1 in 12, you mean go bust. You don't just mean close their doors on their high street operation.
That's right. I mean, they feel that they won't be able to trade any longer. I mean, I think it's fair to say that since last summer, optimism has dipped, and nobody could have ever contemplated that 10 months later, here we all would be in such a deep third lockdown. I think, the new research that we've taken reveals the extent of the impact on small and medium-sized businesses. And some of the stats are sobering. But I think one thing that is really certain, that over and over again, SMEs have shown their resilience and adaptability. We are seeing that businesses have embraced change. I mean, 1 in 3 being hopeful about the long-term future of their business. And maybe one of the reasons is because they've shown that adaptability to change throughout this pandemic.
We heard one of your clients there, George Ketori, who's in Nottingham, talking about converting a bounce-back loan. These are the smaller loans which require less due diligence and attract a lower interest rate, into the other form, what's called the C-bills loan, which has a higher interest rate. Are lots of your customers thinking about doing that, even though they will have to pay more interest?
I think businesses are looking at many options, really to give them a bit of breathing space at the moment. And debt isn't always the answer for that. And I think, it is important that we look at a range of initiatives to help businesses in these times. I mean, I would say, the government was very quick off the market introducing schemes like furlough and coronavirus lending schemes, which has been a real safety net. But, there are other initiatives that need to be considered, such as VAT deferrals, the extension of furlough and business rates relief that could provide additional breathing space. Debt isn't always the answer, and that's why...
I was just going to say, it's going to be quite difficult for the banks, isn't it? Because around about March, April time, when these loans have to be repaid or start to be repaid, it's the banks that's going to be foreclosing on these businesses. Even though they are government backed, it's up to the banks to collect the money, and you are going to be closing lots of small companies.
Well, I mean, we've supported small businesses across the UK with the government's bounce back loan. We've lent more than £4 billion through this particular scheme so far, and that's in addition to offering payment holidays on overdrafts and existing loans. And, going back to, we're doing everything that we can do to support businesses in a multitude of ways. And that's why at Santander we have launched non-financial support for businesses too, to enable them to, get that breathing space that they need right now. As I mentioned, debt isn't always the answer.
Thank you very much, Susan Davies from Santander. Now we expect to hear later today. Now we expect to hear later today.